let me show you some tips and tricks for Motorola Edge 70. Of course, some of these features can be also performed on other Motorola smartphones or other smartphones in general. However, I think they are pretty cool and they are worth mentioning. So the first thing that I want to show you is the widget stack. Sometimes when you have a widget, you should be able to create a stack. In this case, unfortunately, there is no option to do so. But after, for example, adding this clock widget, we have this edit stack option. And if we drop over here, you should be able to add more widgets into the stack, and you can add more widgets that have exactly the same size. So if you have a widget that takes 2x2 space, then you can add more 2x2 widgets. So let's say I'm gonna go to YouTube Music and I can add this widget over here. I can also go, let's say, to the Drive app and I can add this widget, and now I can swipe between them in order to quickly change between the different widgets. It is a little bit clunky. The animation feels a little bit clunky when we go from the last widget to the first one. It swipes up like this, which is, kind of not intuitive actually. This is what I'm trying to say. And you cannot swipe down from here, so it could be better, but if you want to save some space on the home screen, you can do so with widgets by creating a stack if these widgets are the same size. Now, besides that, we can also customize our quick settings or control center, and of course, this is the standard or the classic style of the control center, but we can actually change it. And of course, it is also connected with notifications, because in order to go there, we need to go to notifications first and then swipe down again to open the full control center. But if we go to settings and then proceed to home and lock screen, then you should be able to find the control center settings. And over here, we can switch from the classic style to a modern style. And in this case, we can swipe on the right side of the phone in order to immediately open the control center. And as you can see, it is a little bit refreshed. It looks slightly different. And in order to open notifications, we can swipe on the left side. We can actually change these sides. So for example, you can swipe for notifications on the right side instead if you go back to these settings of the control center. But yeah, and we can of course quickly switch between these panels by moving left and right. The drawback is that of course we do not have these quick settings options, these tiles that are usually available in notifications. But some people might prefer to have this new style of quick settings rather than a couple of more buttons in notifications, for example. Alright, so after that, what I want to show you is a kind of cool gesture that might be quite useful for some people. If we go to sound and vibration, then you should be able to find pick up to silence. So for example, if you often mute your ringtone when someone calls you by using the volume down button, then you can actually use this feature instead, which allows it to mute the ringtone immediately once you pick up the phone. So if someone calls you and you pick up the phone, the ringtone should be muted quite easily and quite instantly. We can also use it to silence alarms as well, by the way, if we go to these settings, so this is quite cool. And besides that, in sound and vibration, we can find Dolby Atmos settings. And unfortunately, the Dolby Atmos feature itself cannot be enabled or disabled if you use loudspeakers, but if you use, for example, a Bluetooth device, if it's connected, then you can actually turn it on or off. And also here in the bottom left corner, we have settings of Dolby Atmos where we can find different profiles. We can also create a custom profile, and we can adjust the EQ manually, or if you want to, you can, for example, use one of these presets. For example, if you quickly want to have more bass, then we can switch to bass boost over here in these settings. And also in sound and vibration, you can find the Crystal Talk AI, which allows you to reduce actually the background noise, at least in some cases. But in order to make it work, you actually need to be on a VoIP call. Alright, so after that, we're gonna go back and we're gonna go to gestures. Over here in gestures, you should be able to find a bunch of different options, and many of them are actually quite useful, but I'm gonna mention two specific options, and that is the quick launch over here, which is a back tap gesture. So you can double tap the back of the phone in order to quickly perform an action. Once it is enabled, you can also go to settings in order to adjust the tap strength and you can choose exactly what should happen when you double tap the back of the phone. You can, for example, use it to take screenshot, which seems to be quite convenient. And you can also tap on the try it out in order to find out where you need to tap and how strong you have to tap in order to make it work. So I usually tap over here somewhere in this area, the upper half of the phone. And if we double tap, we should get the feedback. There we go. So if the double tapping doesn't work for you, if you can figure it out, I can recommend you using this tutorial, which will give you feedback on how strong and how strong you tap and where you tap, or maybe not where you tap, but if you tap in the correct place. And the second gesture that I wanted to show you is the fast flashlight. With the 2 chopping motions, you can easily toggle flashlight. So let's see if I'm gonna make it work. We should be able to quickly chop. There we go. As you can see, we have the flashlight enabled and disabled. So there we go. Really cool stuff, especially if you use flashlight a lot. Pretty cool gimmick, and honestly really useful. So after that, we're gonna go back to settings once again, and this time we're gonna open apps. And over here in apps, you should be able to find the app lock, which is of course a convenient way to protect our apps if you don't want to be easy to access. Essentially, if you enable the app lock, once you create the password, then of course you will need to enter the password when trying to open these locked apps. So if you value the privacy, if you want to make sure that no one can access these apps, then of course you can set up the password over here, and you can lock apps of your choice. You can also use biometrics, so the fingerprint and face unlock can be enabled for the app lock as well. And last but not least, something about protection, since we are talking about privacy. What we can also do is, if we go to the security and privacy settings over here and go to device unlock, we can find theft protection, which is quite useful in case you want to have some chances to, of course, recover your phone or locate your phone, or make sure that you know, no one else gets the access to your phone. So we have the theft detection lock, the offline device lock, the remote lock, and also we have the find hub or find my device. All of these options can be quite useful. Over here we also have find your offline devices, so definitely worth checking out and setting these options up just to, you know, just to have that you know, that feeling of security that, you know, if anything happens, if the device is stolen or lost, at least you have some changes to locate it. But also besides that, we can go to more security and privacy in here, and one of the features that I can recommend you using is the secure power off option, which requires the screen lock password whenever you try to power off the phone. So if, for example, someone gets your phone, if they try to shut down the phone, it will be a little bit harder because they will have to enter the password if they will just simply try to power off. And besides that, we also have this option, protect from online scammers, which is of course something that it is recommended to use as well. So if you can face some, if you want to be protected from phishing, then of course we can turn this option on as well. And that is pretty much it. Of course, there are probably more features that are worth mentioning in this video. And if you think so, of course, you can let me know in the comments some of the stuff that I didn't mention in this video that are worth mentioning, so of course everyone can know about them. And that's pretty much it. And also, if you're looking for guides, for specific guides for Motorola Edge 70, then be sure to check out my channel. Thanks for watching, leave a like and subscribe.